This game of Magic is brought to you today by... Oh wait, there's no card of the match this time. Nope, today we're doing something different. Ever hear of Tiny Leaders? Usurper? Big Deck? If you watch this channel, you probably have, but this vid is to serve as a quick tutorial and entry to over a dozen Magic formats and different ways of playing these formats. Not only that, but we're going to provide you with links to examples after each section so you can see the format in action. Most of the links are to other vids on this channel, so pardon the self-promotion, but we actually had difficulty finding these obscure formats on YouTube. Links to official or semi-official or nowhere near official rules pages are provided in the video description below. Oh, just one more thing. We have a few guest narrators today from other MTG YouTube channels. So yeah, on to the magic. Commander has seen a rise in popularity over the past few years. It truly boasts the gathering aspect of Magic, drawing many people together in just one game alone. Commander has high rates of diversity in the playability of cards, as well as group interactions. The unique rules of Commander are the reason for its popularity. 40 life instead of the normal 20, 99 card decks instead of the normal 60, and no more than one of each non-basic land card. The format is designed to be played in a multiplayer environment. Most noticeably is that each Commander deck is accompanied by a legendary creature called the Commander who exists in the command zone at the start of the game and who you can cast during the game. The format makes the individual commanders even more important in that the decks are strictly built around the commander's colors, and in many cases revolving the deck's strategy around the commander itself. We have played multitudes of Commander games on this channel. Here are some highlights to check out.
Hi, welcome to Budget MTG Decks. All Magic fun. Wait, we're not on Budget MTG Decks. We're on Gameplays by Clonehead, and today we're going to talk about what is Tiny Leaders.
Tiny Leaders is a variation on the Commander format. Just as in Commander, you can only use a singleton deck, which means you can only use each card in the deck once. This time you have a 50 card deck and your life total starts at 25 life. All cards in the deck have to have a converted mana cost of 3 or less. Of course, Tiny Leaders has its own separate banned list. You can find the rules and the banned list below this video.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to start building your deck by having one of the 50 cards be a legendary creature, which will be your Tiny Leader. The remaining 49 cards in the deck must be of the same color identity as your Tiny Leader. So if your Tiny Leader is white and green, that means your cards can only be white, green, or colorless. You start the game with your Tiny Leader in the command zone, which is a separate zone on the table. You can always cast your Tiny Leader from that zone. Should your Tiny Leader get destroyed or exiled, you can choose to have it go back to that command zone, and you can recast it again as many times as you want. But for each time it got returned to the command zone, you have to pay an additional 2 colorless mana. Remember that your Tiny Leader can still be returned to your hand or shuffled into your library, and then you cannot choose to have it go into your command zone. Lastly, unlike Commander, the damage from your Tiny Leader has no special rules.
Yeah. Unlike Commander, the Tiny Leader format is meant as a 1 versus 1 format instead of a multiplayer format. This format, Tiny Leader, will be very fast and competitive because it shares a lot of cards that are used in Modern and Legacy. If you want to check out some Tiny Leaders gameplay videos, you can check the link below this video.
Yeah, you should also not forget to subscribe to Gameplays by Clonehead. In addition to that, if you're interested in budget deck tech videos, check out our channel, Budget MTG Decks. That's the link below. And well, that's it. So thanks for watching. I'm David.
And I'm Ruud.
This was Budget MTG Decks for Gameplays by Clonehead.
Next up we have Big Deck, another fine format but much less known. This is a format rarely seen, which is sad since it is so much fun. The Big Deck itself is similar to a cube, but you don't draft it. The big deck is custom, you can design your own to your tastes with just a couple of notes. There are absolutely no lands in big deck, and we will get to why soon. Also, the big deck should have hundreds of cards in it, and a good portion of them should be multicolored, which also takes us back to the no land thing. Players get to play any card in hand as either the actual printed card it is, or as a land that taps for that card's color. You can use Mana Leak to either counter a spell as normal, then send it to your graveyard, or play it as an island should you need blue mana. The card then stays on your battlefield as a permanent for the duration of the game. Like Commander, it is recommended that you play Big Deck in a multiplayer setting. If Big Deck sounds like a format you would like to check out more of, here are a few games we played.
Another variant you might want to try out is Pauper Big Deck. This can be an easy way to ease into the Big Deck format for builders who are unsure about it. You can get similar play experiences but for a much cheaper price. If you are thinking about building a Pauper version of Big Deck, I highly recommend including an unlimited amount of uncommons, just because of the paucity of playable common gold cards. We do not have any Pauper Big Deck gameplay vids, nor could we find any on the entire internet. If you feel like being the first, send us the link, we'd love to see it. Another fun format we've recently started doing is Peasant.
Peasant?
Peasant is a heads-up format featuring decks whose main restriction is the rarity of its cards. Similar to Pauper, all the cards in Peasant decks are common. The difference is that players are allowed to include up to 5 uncommons in the deck. This typically means that Peasant decks are based around the uncommons themselves. Decks like Thopter Foundry, Sword of the Meat combo are completely based around these 2 cards, with commons designed to support retrieval of these cards. You can play Soul Sisters and run something like Ajani's Pridemate, which works very well with the Sisters as your uncommon. Choose wisely. Jund is even an option, and like Pauper, again these decks are very affordable. Check out these Peasant gameplays.
Simply put, Duel Commander is the competitive Commander format. It keeps all the charm of Commander, but with a few rules changes and a different ban list, ensures that games can be as balanced as possible. The rules of Duel Commander are the same as regular Commander, except for a few minor changes. Number 1, players start the game with 30 life. With 30 life instead of 40, games are not only relatively shorter, but it opens up the format to more aggressive deck archetypes. Number 2 is that if your commander would be put into your library, you can put it in your command zone instead. So in Duel Commander, cards like Oblation and Condemn no longer ruin your day. And number 3, there are no sideboards. Besides these minor rules changes, the ban list is where the biggest changes are, and before you lose your marbles, these bans don't go without warrant. For example, in order to keep games as balanced as possible and to prevent turn 1 Jace the Mind Sculptors, cards like Sol Ring, Mana Crypt, and Mana Vault are banned. But with those bans, there are also a few cards in Duel Commander that are banned in regular EDH, the big ones being Primeval Titan, Griselbrand, and Emrakul. Now these cards in particular are nowhere near as powerful in Duel Commander due to the lack of easy artifact ramp. The full ban list has many changes over the year and can be found on the website, or you can click on the link in the description down below. So if you are a player who likes to break their EDH decks and make them as degenerate as possible, or if you find that Commander is a bit too friendly for real competition, Duel Commander is perfect for you. It truly is the competitive deck builder's dream.
Next up is a Commander variant, Usurper.
Usurper! Usurper! Usurper!
Usurper is another way of playing Commander, using Commander rules, but with the twist. Instead of everyone killing everyone, you win by killing specific people and you gotta figure out who's who. Kinda like a murder mystery dinner. All assignments are assigned randomly and secretly at the start of the game. If you are chosen to be the king, you reveal the fact to the other players. Your goal as the king is to be the last man standing. The guard is to protect the king and eliminate the other 3 players. The traitor is to make it look like he or she is protecting the king for a while. But then when the other 3 players are dead, then kill the king also. The assassins, of which there are 2, are to kill the king as fast as possible. They win as soon as the king is dead. Assassins can work together and also share the victory. But remember, you are never allowed to divulge who you really are, even if someone guesses it. This also means that it is possible for the king to kill the guard. Oops. The only difficulty with playing Usurper is that you need 5 players in order to play it. Also, if somebody combos off and wins that way, it sort of defeats the point of the game. One final rule: select your deck before you get assigned your role. The king is the only person who is allowed to repick his or her deck once everyone is given their assignment. Check out these usurper gameplays if you like, or continue on to the next format.